morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. I was reflecting on a number of things today, and I realized there's one piece of technology that's going to go the way of the dinosaur right in front of our very eyes. And at least for 70% of the people, anybody with a driver's license. And I'm talking about the car horn. Now, the car horn is one of those weird pieces of technology that never really served a purpose. And when you look at the modern day, they're not programming, the self-driving Teslas and all the other self-driving things with the ability to honk a horn. It's more or less just there to give a driver a way to express their annoyance. Think about it. For those of you who are driving, and I assume people are decent drivers because everybody thinks they're a decent driver, even if they have multiple accidents and stuff, but they think they're a good driver. They get cut off, they get pissed off because somebody's tailgating, whatever, and they hit that horn. Meep. Tell me. It's not really a deterrent. It doesn't do anything to anybody. In fact, it can escalate a situation very badly. Many years ago, in the last century, it was a different world. And I remember we watched this driving video from the 60s, and I kid you not, it was from the 60s. And they had various situations, and the driving instructor was teaching, I think it was a female that he was teaching, but trying to be progressive in the 60s, I guess. And he was teaching, when everything happened, gently honk twice. Beep, beep, kind of that thing. And everything, that double beep was supposed to be the magic sound. Well, I can tell you, in the past, I'm going to say 30 years, I've touched my horn about 10 times. And every time, the reason I touched my horn was to see if my horn was working. I don't use it. Now, there have been two situations in my life where the horn was the worst possible action. Again, going way back into the depths of last century, my best friend and I, hey G, we're going around downtown. We had just come back from a swap meet because we were middle teenagers, the end teenagers, and he was driving my Chrysler minivan. We were coming back, and I forget the initial incident, whether this guy veered out of his lane or whatever. He did something that was dangerous and encroaching, and he had no business doing it. Well, my friend, who is the least aggressive person on the entire road, gently hit his horn, not the two beeps, just the one beep, just to let him know not to come over. This person thought it would be a good idea to speed ahead, cut us off, hit his brakes. And then he got out of the car and he pulled something out and put it in his mouth. It turned out to be a cigarette. And he just sat there, took a long puff off the cigarette, then got back in his car and drove away. That was in response to a car beep. Now, many years of reflection later, I guarantee that person was on some sort of intoxicants other than cigarettes. But we were in our 16, 17-year-old range. We had no idea at that time. Just this creepy guy that was coming around us had just nearly pulled us over and caused an accident. But what if, instead of a cigarette, to show some sort of male dominance and as an expression of his superior genitalia, what if he decided to pull out a knife, a tire iron, or a firearm? again, this is when we were young, so we've had plenty of time to analyze the situation. And it's scary that somebody would react like that in return for not a long honk. It's just people people get triggered by anything, but this isn't 2024 triggered. This was like 1988 triggered. Not somewhere you want to be. So, was it better to use the horn? In retrospect, it was better not to, but at the time it made sense. Actually, I'll have three situations for you on horns. The second situation, I think this is the early 2000s, like between 2000 and 2001. And I got caught because I was stupid, and the traffic light turned on me, and I was in the middle of an intersection and trying to turn left. Now, circumstances, I had already moved into the intersection while the light was green, and people kept coming through, and I couldn't get a lane to get through on. So, what do? Well, I'm not going to back up. That's silly, and I'm pretty sure there's a car in the lane. So I just put my car in park and sat there. And I had a whole lane of traffic all honking at me, probably saying mean things to me too, but I had my window up, and I sure as heck wasn't going to put it down. The light changed again, I was able to get through, everybody went about their day. What did the horns do? Made me feel a little bit guilty. But that's it, it didn't change anybody's situation. Third incident I'll tell you about, a major intersection that's notorious for being terrible. And this was more to the between 2015 and 2017, so a lot more recently, and I've had the chance to reflect on these motions. There's horrible construction. I had made a mistake. If I had turned left, I would have been on a regular road to go home, but I decided I wanted to go right. And then I realized, that was dumb, but there was no way to turn back. So I sat there in my Honda Civic. The comedy to having a Honda Civic is I'm 6'3". So imagine me getting in and out of a tiny Honda Civic, and it's not the smallest car I've ever had. But anyways, there was construction, and I could see, because the left lane was lined up for a mile, I could see nothing was moving. So I came up to right where the pedestrian crosswalk was, and I said, I'll wait to see what happens. I stopped there, and somebody lays on the horn behind me. Now, I'm there in a Honda Civic. As I said, everybody thinks they're a good driver, but in my estimation, remember, there's construction trucks going back and forth. This is a busy, major intersection that everybody uses. In my opinion, there was no safe way for me to get the car through. I also know there's an advanced green, so I can easily sit there, wait. I'm going to get through. The people behind me are going to get through. But no, this person decides to honk at me repeatedly. So I look in my rearview mirror, and what do I see? A local transit bus. I think it was 9907. I did write all that down because this person with the bus with passengers, somewhere between 20 and 60, because again, this is a popular route, thinks they can get a bus through an intersection where I don't think I can get a Civic through. And I've driven everything up to a straight truck, and I wouldn't take a straight truck through that intersection either. But this bus teed off at me, honking and honking and honking, and when the green turned green, I went ahead. The bus came around behind me and had to stop to let their passengers off and picks them up. Literally, he might have gained he or she, this actually becomes relevant later. I could not see because the bus was that close to me. And so I called their dispatcher up. They gave a complaint. And they said to me, was it a male or a female driver? And I said, I have no idea. Were they black, white, etc.? I said, I have no idea. What's with the political questions? I'm reporting somebody who's endangering passengers. I gave you the bus number, I gave you the route, I gave you time, everything you need to do to figure out who it was. They just laid off the horn the 57 times that they had tapped it. It wouldn't have been a problem. So this is why I say I don't think horns are going to be around much longer, because nobody's using them for any constructive purpose. You got the people whose World Cup team just won. We've all been there in North America. Anytime that say the Italians win or the Spanish win or something like that, so you get to find out exactly who in your city is Italian, Spanish, French, whatever the case may be, Brazilian. There's a lot more Brazilians in my town than I thought, let me tell you that. That's because they're normally quiet, but they love their soccer. And that's just from the beeps. Horns just don't serve a purpose. And I think if they put like a fidget spinner there when we move into self-driving cars, it would accomplish pretty much the same thing. There's always jokes about, you fire a paintball or a dart or, sticker, whatever it is, and when somebody has 5 stickers and the police pull them over. Yeah, that's great, except we all know somebody's going to be mashing that thing, like a machine gun just to, nail the person next to them because they looked at them the wrong way or whatever. Cars are stressful enough as it is. If the horn's only purpose is to relieve some of that stress, maybe we can just replace it with something that goes off inside the car. So maybe you can select what it is. Maybe you can select relaxing sounds, the sounds of nature. And if you don't like that, you can touch the horn again and you can hear, the whispering wind. And we can go on forever with these relaxing wind chimes. There we go. There's another good one. But honestly, horns, your time has come. We just don't have space for you on our highways and our hearts anymore. There's probably a way that you could link to another car and show where it was, and that way you can produce a report for your insurance. But I don't think opening two-way communication between cars would be a good idea. First of all, we all know how people get on the internet. Now, can you imagine you add road rage into that and somebody's screaming at the person, "You cut me off." "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did." "I got my dash cam footage of you cutting me off. I'm going to go to the police station to do it." "Yeah, you go ahead. Do you know who I am?" They're never. You can see if this ever happens, start a YouTube channel. You're going to get lots of views. But yeah, we've got to move past this idiotic idea of horns, which in the 1910s and 1920s, where you were warning somebody crossing the street who is not used to a busy intersection like us, good idea. You're warning a horse to get out of your way. Good idea. The old auga kind of horns. That's what they're good for. But in 2024, horns, you had your day. And I challenge anybody. Go down in the comments. Give me your story of a good reason to use a horn. Because there's going to be niche applications. Anything you can imagine will have a niche application. But as a general rule, we've moved beyond this technology. We've moved beyond this application. So, like I said, the computer driving systems are not programmed to honk horns. So that's obviously the next stage. And there's not too much we can do about it because that's just simply the way technology changes lives. Just like very few people have rotary phones in their house anymore. Instead, most people have much more advanced technology, let's just say. It's just going to be, horns are going to be remembered. Is that a loss? I don't think so, but once again, look down in the comments. With that, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please like, share, because sharing is caring. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. under the subscribe button and on the bell icon, because everybody sees different things, you can click them both, the bell icon or the subscribe button. You can enable notifications. That way you won't miss a single one of our shows. And we hope you have a fantastic day.